Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. Every once in a while, we will take and run into a problem with a car that we are working on. And we did run into a problem with this one. We have a section of heater hose in which we have a T that comes off of there. And we have a plastic piece that goes in here, and there's another fitting that comes off here and goes on to the teed off portion, and then there is supposed to be another section of that looks like this that continues on with the pipe. This is for a heater hose where you have something that's heated with the auxiliary water from the cooling system. So these little parts here are made of unobtainium. They're just not available. We were stuck on this job. This was jammed inside here. We managed to extract that out. This piece here was jammed inside here. It was all broken up. This is actually what we got out of there. It came out in about 10 pieces. So we need to take and see if we can find one of these, which is not going to be available, or we can make one. So there we go. We can make one. We have a full machine shop here, so we can take and we found a piece of brass in our bucket o' junk, and we're going to go ahead and spin this up on the lathe and take a couple of cuts on it, and then we're going to get this down to this diameter right here. And then this is not a smooth surface. Okay, this has barbs on it so that when you put a hose clamp on it, especially these kind of crush clamps, not the screw clamps, that it will go ahead and hold it on the barbs without leaking. So we can take and make a part out of this piece of brass that we can take and turn down to that size, and we can take and make the barbs on there using lathe tools. This piece right here is a different thing. We can make another fitting to do that, but we went through our bucket of junk and we happen to find a fitting that will fit in there just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and turn it down, and then we're going to leave a section in the middle a little bit wider so we can drill and tap and put this piece in here. It'll look something about like that when we're finished with it, but only these ends will be that size. So we have enough material here to take and make the part up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chuck this up in the lathe, and this was cut off of another bar. So we are going to take and square up both ends of it, and let's move on over to the lathe. Okay, so we have the piece of material. It's in the lathe chuck. Lathe chuck has been tightened up. We have carbide tipped cutting tools that we will go ahead and turn this on, and we will spin it up and take and flatten this end off, because this has actually been counterbored just a little bit, so we have to take and smooth that out. And so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we squared off this end and it looks very nice. There is, however, a dimple right in the center, and we are going to leave that because we have to make a hole all the way through the entire part. So let's go ahead and square up the other end. Okay, so we've gone ahead and turned this around. Go ahead and fire up the lathe, and we'll square it up. Okay, so you can see we have a nice square end on there. Next thing we have to do is we have to take and map out our diameters. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so you can see on here that we scribed 3 lines. Okay, here's a center line, and we're going to take and leave this much here for a hose barb and this much here for a hose barb. And we're going to leave this the center area relatively untouched. So we want to take this area here and this area here and bring it down to the inside diameter of the hose. Okay, so we're going to chuck this back into the lathe and we're going to start turning that down. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and change our cutter. It's a triangular cutter, and it looks just like this. And we are going to make a mark on here as an index line so we know where to go. So we'll go ahead and do that on both sides, and then we'll know where to stop when we get to that point. So if you go ahead and look at this, we have lines here. This cylinder is not perfectly concentric, but we're going to take care of that right now. So we need to take and change the angle of our cutter, and from straight in to side cutting. So we'll go ahead and do that and be right back with you. So what we've done is we changed the angle of our cutter. We index off of the face that we're going to be cutting on so that the side of the cutter is parallel. So the way we do that is we loosen this nut up right here, and then we just go up there and bump it. Okay, and that's where we want to be. So now we're going to start cutting the diameter, and we'll take a measurement and figure out what that's got to be. Okay, so the current diameter of this round right here is 1426. That's 1.426 inches, and we need to go down 649 thousandths. Okay, which right here. So when that reads 0, then we'll be at the place where we need to be. Right, notice on that cut, I took a pretty heavy cut. It was all that area right there. This is a very soft material. This is a very sharp tool. I had a slow feed rate. You can go ahead and cut that deep in some of this stuff. And generally the hazard is that you'll take and break a tool and it'll get bound up in your work. This right here isn't like that. It really comes off really quick. So let's go ahead and take a little measurement on here. Okay, so where do we got to be? Okay, so if you'll see, we are 219 over. That's 219 thousandths. So we have a couple more passes to take on there, and we'll be at 0, and that is where we need to be. So I'll go ahead and I'll take those passes, and I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so we've taken a couple of passes, and that's where we are right now. Okay, so that's pretty doggone close. That is 1/1000th of an inch. It's about 1/3 of a human hair, so tune that right in. Okay, next thing we're going to do is, this is a very sharp edge right here. We're going to take our cutter and move it over to about a 45-degree angle. And we want to take and knock that edge off. And we just need to take and bump that just a little bit. Okay, that's it. Right, so since this part is not round because this bar is cast, all right, it's not turned by the mill, we went ahead and we're on axes right now because we just turned this. Okay, if we were to take this and flip this around to take and do the other side, which we will in a minute, we'd be in real good shape. We'd be on axes. But since we're here, what we want to do is we want to take and put the barbs on here right now because this is a smooth surface. If you put a hose on here and it's under pressure, it's going to take and come off. Okay, so we have another tool. This is a parting tool. Okay, it's a really thin blade. What we're going to do is we're going to take and put this at an angle, and we're going to cut into this to take and roughen it up just a little bit, and then the hose will stick on there when we put it on there. Okay, so what we've done is we've gone in there and we've cut 3 times into there, which ought to be pretty good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move this out of the way, and we're going to sand that just a little bit using some sandpaper. Okay, whenever you're taking sanding something on a lathe, you never allow the sandpaper to go ahead and completely encircle it, because it'll take and bind up and it'll snatch the paper out of your hands. Okay, so the most you want to do is, just about like this. All right, so let's get that sanded up just a little bit. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, so the hose won't be coming off there anytime soon. So let's go ahead and flip this around, and we'll go ahead and do the other side. And the other side is done exactly like this side. All right, so previously, you remember we faced this off, got a nice flat surface on here, and we still got the dimple from the original piece. So we're going to go ahead and take all this material off here. And since this is a cast piece, we're true on the other end, and you will see how far out of round this is, and we will fix that really quick. start getting down to diameter, we are going to take and slow down our cuts where we don't take those massive cuts anymore. Okay, so right now we are at 134 thousandths out. Okay, so we're getting in the neighborhood, and so we're going to start, instead of eyeballing it, we're going to start doing it the regular machining practices way. Okay, so let's take a, let's see, since it's 134 thousandths, why don't we do 50? Okay, and it'll take and bring us part of the way there. Okay, then we measure it again. So let's take another measurement here, see how we're doing. Okay, and we are at 58 right now. Okay, you notice that as I take and get up to the shoulder here, I slow down, and then what I'll do is I'll put my hand on the back of the tool holder and I'll push down, and what that will do is keep the tool face from go ahead and tearing the surface up when you're going that way. Okay, because it's cutting in that direction and you don't want to tear it up going this way. Okay, so we are 58 thousandths out. So let's do 20. Okay, so you notice the first cut we were taking was about 150 thousandths, and then as we get closer to getting tuned in, we take finer and finer cuts. Okay, so we got 20 thousandths now, so we'll see what that is. Okay, starting to get in the neighborhood here, and we are 17 thousandths out now. So let's go ahead and take about 8. See what this is running at, and this one is 4 thousandths. 4 thousandths is good. I generally try to go for a tolerance of 5, so something like this we should be absolutely fine. Okay, as on the other side, we need to reset our tool for 45. Take and knock the sharp edge off of here. And need to just go in there and bump that. And that's sufficient. Now we're going to go put our grooves in. You take our tool, set it at an angle. So when we put the barbs in here, The hose won't come flying off, blind somebody, all that good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and put the barbs in. Got our barbs on there. Let's go ahead and clean it up. We use a file on this just a little bit. When you take and use a file on this, you want to take and use it in this fashion. Okay, you want to make sure you put your sleeves up. You don't want your sleeves getting caught in the chuck. Take and grind you up inside the machine. That would be a bad day. Okay, and we're good to go. So what we want to do is we want to clean up this area, this big area right here. We want to true it up, and we'll just take a couple of little cuts in there. And it will be super good. Okay, we don't have a full holding surface on this, so the cuts that we want to take, we want to keep them kind of small. We just want to take and round it up, but we want to bring it down to a workable diameter, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, we're just about at the diameter that we want to be, and I'll show you why that is in a minute here. So we want to take our tool and we want to set it off at a little bit of an angle. Okay, like just about like that. The reason is we don't want to take and run into the headstock. This is a headstock right here that holds the material. We have a nice angle here that we can trim that inner edge, and we can also take and knock the sharp edge off this side here too. So let's go ahead and do that. done is we have the basic blank for the part. Okay. One common mistake is when you make a part like this. Okay, this one is not hot. Then when you pick it up, it is hot. Okay, so this is what we have. We don't have a hole in here yet. We also don't have a place for the fitting yet. So let me show you how we're going to take and do that. We have to set up on another machine, and when I get over there, I'll show you how that goes. Okay, so what we do is we've removed it from the lathe, and we are over on the Bridgeport J-head milling machine right now. Had this machine for quite a long time. Really like it. It allows you to take and mill things. So this is a cutter right here. This is the material we just had in the lathe. So we will go ahead and we'll put a flat spot on this round here and allow us to take and drill and tap to take and go in to make the passageway for the T. So we're going to go ahead and flatten most of this area out. So let's see how that's done. Okay, now we have it just about where we want it. We want to take, and instead of taking heavy cuts, we want to just take a few thousandths to clean that surface up. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have a flat surface so we can drill and tap for the for this part that is going to go in there. Okay, so we need to determine where the center of this is, and also need to we need to change all this up and get a drill chuck in here too. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so we haven't moved anything. We haven't taken this piece out of here. It's still squared up. We have put an X on here. So now what we're going to do here, we're going to center drill this. This is a center drill. We'll go ahead and put this in our chuck. And one thing's nice that you can use a milling machine as a drill press as well. So what you want to do is you want to get this in a neighborhood and then just tune it in. And that's pretty close right there. So you just want to make a mark there, so when you take and go at it with a drill, it's not going to wander, because this is a flat surface. A drill will wander off to the side. Okay. So there we go. We have that. So since we are centered up right on there, we do not want to take and move to the side. So we will determine what size drill we need to run a tap in there, and we'll get that in there, and I'll be back with you in a second. All right, little change of plan. Okay, ran into a problem where the precision drill chuck that we have would not go open wide enough to take a 7/16 bit. Okay, and that is the size that we need to take and drill a hole to get it tapped and put the T in there. Okay, so chucked it up on the drill press. Got to use a drill vise. Okay, it's a small part. If you take and hold it with your hand, try and drill it, you're going to get hurt. Okay, we also set the drill stop because we want to blow through the other side of the part and take and have something to weld up or throw it away or whatever. So we'll go ahead and drill this up, and we're going to be drilling slow on this one. See, that's the reason you don't want to take and hold it with your fingers. Okay, so let's try it one more time. Let's just take the kerf off this, and then we'll... All right, so what we finally wind up doing is drill press wasn't a good fit for this operation. So we decided to take and step drill it out in the vise here. And so we have our hole right here. So came out pretty good. So we're going to deburr all this area here. And we're going to countersink this just a little bit. And then we have a tap that we're going to run in there. And this is 1/4-18 NPT pipe. So that will go right in there, just like that. So let's go ahead and tap that up, and I'll show you the result. So we went ahead and deburred it, and we have the pipe started in there square, and we put a little bit of tapping oil on there, and we got our big tap handle. So just go ahead and wind that in there. Brass is a very soft material, so we can take and just wind this tap in there. No problem. This is a special kind of tap. It has a flat bottom on it, and it's called a bottoming tap, where you have another kind of tap that is not a bottoming tap, and it has a point on it. Okay, and that feels like the bottom right there. Go ahead and wind it out. Okay. These chips are going to be sharp. So use a shot brush. Okay, so you have a nice threaded hole. This should take and fit right in there. Okay, and it does. So that's pretty good. Cool. Okay, so next thing to do is we got to take and bore a hole all the way through this, okay, for the passage. And we'll set that up on the other lathe, and I'll show you that operation. All right, we have this chucked up on our small bench lathe, and we are going to take and be boring all the way through it. And it's a soft material, so we have a large bit. We're going to be oiling that up as we go through, and this is one of the final steps, okay? These older lathes, you got to be careful. The belts do come off in the thing. It's kind of finicky, especially when you're using big material. So, just got to take it easy. It's going to take us a little while to take and bore through this. We're going at a real slow rate. So when we're already through, I'll be back with you. So we checked this up on the other lathe, drilled a hole all the way through it. So we want to leave a little bit more meat on the inside here so that make it a little more sturdier. And this does fit into there. And this does fit in there. So we'll go ahead and put a little bit of sealant on here and put this in, and we'll go ahead and clamp it up, and everything should be fine. If you cannot get a part, all is not lost. If you have the resources, you have friends with machine shops, you can have it made. Okay, not that difficult. Total time, I don't know what the total time on the video is going to be, but it's about 2 hours. They can make this up zero cost. So hope I've given you some pretty good information on how to take and make some stuff when you get in trouble. So I hope you have a really great day. It's Jeff from Rust Bucket Valley Garage. I hope you subscribe, comment. We love your comments. Hit the notification bell when you'll get to know when we do something new. Okay? Love to have you. Have a great day. See you next time.